You don't want to say fake question.
Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to this live Q&A session from the University of Suffolk. Thanks to all of you who are joining us live on Facebook and YouTube. This afternoon is your unique opportunity to find out more about the University of Suffolk, to ask questions and really dig a little bit deeper and find out what the University of Suffolk has to offer to you. So please, if there is anything that you want to ask, any questions or any comments that you'd like to make, just put them in the chat section there on YouTube or on Facebook, and we'll do our very best to get to your questions as soon as possible. I'm joined by three very, very special guests this afternoon here from the University of Suffolk. So I'm going to hand over to them to introduce themselves. So we start with our academic team first. Fran, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Hi, yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Fran Hyde, and I am the Deputy Dean of Suffolk Business School, which is a kind of weird title. It's a bit like a deputy head if you've been in a school, or deputy principal, maybe if you've come from a college. So it's I look after the business school and the staff in the business school and the courses in the business school, and I'm also a lecturer. So I lecture in marketing, that's my subject, and I take courses at all the different levels of degrees and on the postgraduate courses too.
Fantastic. Ida, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Dr. Aida Rajic. I'm course leader for biomedical science degree. I also teach on that degree, and I teach on Masters in Regenerative Medicine module and a number of other undergraduate degrees. And I'm here today to answer any questions you might have about either biomedical science degree or Master in Regenerative Medicine.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And Sophie?
I'm Sophie, and I've just finished my 3-year course studying early and primary education studies. And I lived in the student accommodation as well. So if you have any questions about the accommodation, I can answer those as well as what it's like to be a student.
Fantastic. And my name's Owen. I work in the recruitment and outreach department here at the University of Suffolk. So basically anything that our experts can't answer, I'll do my best to sort of mop up as well. But I can talk to you about if you're thinking of applying for university this September through clearing, I can give you some advice, making your application for next year, and talking about the University of Suffolk in general. So between the four of us, I'm sure we'll be able to answer anything that you want to ask today. So we've already got a couple of questions come in. You can see the first one has come along. Someone actually interested in biomedical science. So for you, Ida, has the course got a strong practical component?
Yes, that's one of our unique selling points, actually. Yes, so while designing the course, we were talking a lot to our local employers, so our local NHS hospital, and seeing what they are looking for in graduates. So what they want to see in the biomedical science scientists that they employ. And one of the things that came through is that they want somebody with solid practical skills. So this is what we then listened to when we were designing the course. And starting from the first year, most of our modules have a lot of laboratory practicals, so we would say anything between 40 to 70, 80% of modules, depending on what modules they are. They would have a practical degree, practical activities, and ending up with dissertation projects, which depending on the type of project students choose, students will be in the lab really on a full-time basis in the final year. Again, with the pandemic, we have kind of diversified the kind of practicals that dissertations that we do, so that we also, as we call it, COVID-proof our dissertations and our practicals as well. And to say a little bit more about practicals, so even we are very proud that even this year, with most of universities not really providing practical activities for their students, we provided majority of practicals for our students. Okay, so in the first semester, for a number of modules, they ran 80 or 90% of practicals, and even in the second semester, where we were not really allowed in the lab until after Easter, we designed our schemes of work to group all the practical activities that we would normally have spread throughout the year. We grouped them all in the final 4 or 5 weeks, so after Easter, and we were able to run those practical activities. Yes, so.
I was just wondering, I mean, that sounds amazing for a course like biomedical science, to be able to get into the lab and do the practical activities. Could you just give us a flavour of some of the lab-based activities that you would actually do on the course?
Okay, so any practical activity that we design are designed first to underscore the theory that students learn, and the second to replicate in part, as much as possible, the standard either daily life of a scientist or biomedical scientist in the NHS laboratory. So all practicals are planned with that in mind. So some of the practicals that we have might be extraction of either DNA or RNA. Then we might do some manipulations of those nucleic acids or DNA. We will do some polymerase chain reaction, which is something that is very topical now with the COVID, so with PCR, as it is named, that we might be more familiar with. So PCR is something that our students learn in the first year, so they use first scientific principles behind the technique, and then start with the standard PCR technique already in the first year, and our students have done that already, even this year. And then following next year in modules molecular biotechnology, they learn even qPCR, which is the technique that is used currently for diagnosing COVID infection. So those are some examples. Another examples, again staying with COVID, we also do something similar to what is applied to lateral flow tests, so rapid test, which is ELISA, immune technique for detecting antigens. So again, this is something that our students learn first in biochemistry module in the first year, and then they have chance to apply that in the module immunology in the second year. And they also do a range of other immunological techniques as well to detect. So
amazing. I mean, I think for a lot of us, 18 months ago, that would have sounded completely foreign what you were saying to us. Yes. But now it's very understandable and very relatable with the current situation. So that's fantastic to know that they get that opportunity, especially from year one. Really, really fantastic.
And I think also this name, profession of biomedical scientist, have kind of gained lots of fame now. I think previously people were really either not aware of that profession even existing, or if they knew about it, they were not sure what biomedical scientists actually do. But they are really the link between your GP, between coming into hospital and then getting that diagnosis. Because biomedical scientists are people who receive samples, whatever samples might be taken at the initial assessment of a patient, and they then assess that sample, so conduct a range of diagnostic techniques depending on what the sample is, what is the suspected diagnosis, and then they present those test results and discuss with clinicians what the diagnosis, the most likely diagnosis is, and what is the best course of action then for that patient.
Yeah, incredibly important work that you're doing. Absolutely. Okay, so we have a few more questions in. Kushan, we are going to get you some more information about the English pre-session course that we're starting here at the university. So I will come back to that. And Ak, again, when it comes to CAS and all the CAS questions, every CAS application is a little different. It's very difficult for us to give exact timelines or to give you an idea of how many days it might take place. What we can say is that the international team and that the team in the admissions department will get to you as soon as there's any update or any news. If they haven't got to you, that they are working on it, I promise. But they're the guys who will be able to update you with those. So we've had a question about the accommodation. Sophie, I think you're probably best placed to answer this. What is the accommodation like at the University of Suffolk?
So the accommodation is really nice. So there's lots of different accommodation you can stay in. There's Athena Hall, Grimwade Street, and then Spring Court. However, the main accommodation is Athena Hall. So you get an ensuite, you get a small double bed, wardrobe, chair, desk, and you share with, the flat sizes are 4 people, 5 people, and 6 people. So there's a shared kitchen area with like a lounge area as well. And you each get a cupboard each, a space in the fridge, a space in the freezer. You can all have meals together, and then someone could bring a TV maybe and have that in the lounge as well. The rooms are really nice. So they each come with everything I said they come with. And then the only difference is the floor space. So there's bronze, silver and gold, and they go up in prices. So the bronze is like quite a narrow space, then silver's a little bit bigger, and then gold's the biggest. And there's not much difference between bronze and silver, but between silver and gold, there's quite a big difference. So it just depends what size you want and what your maintenance loan covers as well.
And very importantly, is there a supermarket near there?
There's Tesco's Express, which some rooms actually look onto. So if you need essentials, you can just walk over there. And there's also a Sainsbury's about a 15-minute walk away, and then an Asda about a 15-minute drive. So everything's very close.
And from every time I walk past Athena Hall, I believe there is a pizza takeaway and an Indian takeaway as well, because all I see is the students coming in and out with those.
Yeah, so there's a Papa John's opposite, a Subway, a fish and chip shop.
If I can add, there is a great new Greek place as well called
really?
Greek Hut. It's great. They have excellent halloumi chips or chunks, halloumi chunks. Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, that's great. So this year, very well fed. Students in the accommodation never go hungry. Very well fed there. Okay, moving on then. Shauna has asked, what are you doing to help practical courses during COVID? Seems no change, even though circumstances are extremely difficult for students. Yes, that's true. Sure. Fran, are you happy to answer this one?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Owen. So it has been extremely challenging, we know, for students and also for people who are thinking about studying with us. It's difficult to try to navigate what's going on with COVID and the situation. But we were able to open up some parts of the campus when the second lot of restrictions changed in May. And that meant that actually there was COVID secure access to some of our labs and other areas. But it is challenging, and it's challenging for us because we have to follow the government guidelines. So, we want to make as many facilities open as possible. And obviously, we're very much hoping that the government road map goes ahead and that, in August, everything is all remaining restrictions are taken away. And that's why we're very much talking about a full on-campus experience for our students. But as I say, we fall under the same regulations as trains and supermarkets and everything else, in that we have a set of regulations that we're given by the government. So it is difficult, but I think my advice would be to keep watching our communication. So on the website and through social media, we're talking about next year. And if we are not able to offer a full campus experience because the government guidelines mean that's what we can't do, then we'll keep you updated as soon as we know. But certainly at the moment, the plan is that we will have everything open for when students join us in September.
Thanks, Fran. Yeah, very much fingers crossed that things are going to get back to normal as soon as possible. It's just to back up what Fran was saying. It's certainly what we're planning for here at university. Luann, I see that your daughter has been offered a space on the Diagnostic Radiography course. You're absolutely right. She will be entitled to the NHS bursary. what you'll need to do is contact the NHS Learning Support Fund. So if you go on Google NHS Learning Support Fund, and you'll have to actually make an account with them, then they are the people that will supply you with the bursary. It's currently £5,000, I think, minimum. So once your daughter has the student finance in place and has enrolled on the course, she will then be able to be in a place to receive the bursary from the NHS Learning Support Fund. But they're the people you need to get in touch with for that. Ben, why are you no longer using the 3D printing suite? It's one of the best I've ever used. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I was unaware that we're no longer using it, Ben. Hopefully that will be up and running again very soon. I know the 3D printing suite is an amazing facility that we have here. And in the past, it's something that's been open to all students, not just art or technology students that we've had. So Stacey asks, I struggle with Harvard referencing. How can I get help? Whew, good question, Stacey. I'm sure you are not the only student who struggles with referencing. That's something that's very common for students who, who've been studying for a while or are new to university. I believe, Sophie, have you had much to do with the library and learning support team? Do you know if they offer help with referencing?
Yeah, so when I first came to uni, I'd literally never referenced before. I had no clue what I was doing. And so the library actually offer academic support advisors. So you can book an appointment with them and they help with stuff like referencing. So I just took them, and when I got to second year, I took them all my first year work and just showed it to them and was like, help me, all my references wrong and I don't know how to do it. And so they talked it through me and told me all the little things you need to know, like the commas and stuff like that and the italics, which I just had no clue about. And they gave me a really useful help sheet, which I just, every time I went to write an essay, I literally just had that sheet there and just followed it all through. So they're really great and they can help with stuff like planning essays and reading paragraphs before you submit it as well. So definitely go to them when you come here. They're really, really helpful.
That's great. I do want to touch on that, the idea of the support here at the University of Suffolk, because I know that's something we're very, very strong on and we're very big with. I'm going to ask our academics to come in a second. But just while you're there, Sophie, Angie's asked about bringing her car to uni and the parking situation. Is that something you could elaborate on?
Yeah, so you don't need a car here. I personally never brought my car here because everything's in walking distance. So the train station's only about 20 to 30 minute walk. The bus station, only 20-minute walk. You can literally get to everything in walking distance. I've never needed a bus. So if you do need to get home, you can just pop on the train. But if you do want to bring your car, there is parking as well. So there you can get a permit and that means it's only £2 a day to park. Or there's like streets you can park in. So it's just up to you, really.
Yeah, I know a number of students do bring, particularly living on campus, do bring their car. So it is possible. But as you said, everything's close enough within walking distance. So just coming back to that idea of support, I just wanted to see if I could ask Fran and Ida, the kind of support that you would be able to give on your course to students. So there's obviously general support available and academic support. But as a tutor or as a lecturer, how would you support your students when, if they have questions or if they need to contact you?
I'm happy to pick that up, Owen. So just to say to people that we're introducing quite an exciting new system for next year where we're developing the role of personal tutors into something we're calling personal academic coaches. So when people start with us, they'll have a personal academic coach, and that will be somebody who will make sure they meet with you at least twice a year, and sort of make sure that as well as getting started on your modules and having met your module leaders and your course leader, you have this extra person who can also talk to you about anything you want help with or signposting to in the university. Because I think it's really important to think about the fact that actually, as well as having your module leaders and your course leaders, there's a lot of other people at the university who can help you, and it's really important to make use of all those people and know who they are. And certainly that's something that we'll cover in induction week. So in the first week that you're with us, you'll have an induction into your course, and you'll be signposted and shown a lot of information. And I know it's a lot to take on board, but within that, you'll find there's lots of people who can really help with things like academic writing, things like how to use our library. We've got an amazing source of online and physical resources, and we have lots of drop-ins. We've got one-to-one you can book with, and then we've got, you know, student support. If you think you maybe have got all the way through education and you've always struggled with something, and you think, you know, maybe I just need to get checked to make sure I'm not dyslexic. It could, sometimes people come all the way to university, and actually it's not till they get to university that we actually pick up that in fact they've got some additional learning needs, and we need to offer you support to be really successful with your studies. So that often happens. So there's lots of things that are not just your module leaders and your course leaders, but lots of other people that can help you be successful with your studies, because it is tough. You know, it's tough making that transition, but there's lots of people here to help. That's important to remember.
I think that's a really good point, isn't it, Fran? Something I talk about this every time we do one of these Q&As. It's about independence at university, and university is all about coming and being independent and doing things for yourself and finding out. But that doesn't mean going to university is about being alone. There is help, there's always help available. There are people here who help you every step of the way if you need it. You just need to ask. So independence is great, but independence doesn't mean doing everything by yourself. And like Fran said, everybody will have, not necessarily a struggle, but will have a transition when they come to university. And, you know, there are people here that can help you through that transition. We've had some questions about biomedical come through for you.
I saw that one. So first one was, does biomedical science degree have links with the local NHS trust? Yes, we have. We have links with ESNEFT, which is East Suffolk North Essex NHS Trust. So hospitals based in Colchester and Ipswich, and also with West Suffolk, which is based in Bury St Edmunds. We have a number of their practicing biomedical scientists actually contributing to teaching on our course, because again, we want our students to have as experience as close to, you know, what their real life job might be in the future. So yeah, so we have a lot of contribution from those active biomedical scientists. We also organize visits to Ipswich Hospital currently, so for our students to have a rota against around different specialists in the pathology lab there. And in addition to that, what we also have is that we have secured a certain number of trainee biomedical positions for our students with Ipswich Hospital. So currently this year we have 4 of our biomedical science students studying part-time with us, and at the same time working part-time at Ipswich Hospital. So, you know, gaining experience there and also working towards their portfolio of competence, which they will need then for registration with the Health and Care Professions Council, if they want to then to work as practicing biomedical scientists. So by the time they finish with us here, their degree, then they will also have finished with their certificate, and then they will have everything in place to be able to register with HCPC and then practice as biomedical scientists within NHS. And then to tag along to the other question, which is whether our degree is IBMS accredited, yes, it is. So again, once our students graduate with our degree, which is degree accredited by IBMS, they will have one of the 2 things in place already that will contribute to that registration by the HCPC. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So Jen, just a question on timetables. We're hoping that the timetables will be out very soon. Timetabling is something that's very, very complicated at a university. yes, as I said, usually timetables are released this time of year, early August. So hopefully you'll hear within the next few weeks or so about your timetables. It's not to do with places being confirmed. If your place is confirmed or not, it doesn't really influence when a timetable will be released. But be assured, as soon as the timetables are available, the admissions team will let you know, and you'll receive a link in the applicant area to access the timetable. Andrea asks, when will we come back to campus? Is next year classes online as well? So Fran, you were talking about this before and sort of mentioning that trying to get back to normal. When will we be back on campus?
So Owen, it kind of depends induction week is week commencing the 20th of September and teaching starts the following week. Obviously, that's general. There may be some slight differences. Some of their health courses, I think, have got slightly different dates because of practice placement. So that's the general guideline. You'll find that on the website. So on the University of Suffolk website, there's beginning to be some of the dates are coming up. In terms of will you be online, what we're going to be offering for next year is a blended delivery. So that's been part of our strategy for over the past year, which is that we have face-to-face on campus, but we also have, through our online learning environment, Brightspace, lots of material for students to engage with on every module they're taking and every course, which they'll be doing as part of their tutor structured learning hours, but independently. So you might have so for example, on one of my courses, although my students come in and they're with us on campus and they're having face-to-face classes, I ask them to undertake some work independently, and that work can be found on the online learning environment. And it might be watching a short video, it might be reading something, it might be undertaking a quiz, it might be participating in a discussion board. So one thing we know post the pandemic, we're all going to move into this idea of blended. So there will always be some aspects of your learning now online, and you might do it live with a lecturer, or you might do it independently. So that's definitely here to stay, and that's very much part of what's going on in higher education. But absolutely, there will always be on-campus learning too.
Thank you very much. I mean, that sounds like something to embrace, really. Different options and having the option to learn away from home at the same time.
And I know, and I should have said that actually this is in response to students. So what we know is that students, they really like coming on campus and they like learning and doing interactive activities. But what we found last year was that if somebody has to understand something quite complicated, so if it's actually useful for that to be given online so that students can learn it at their own pace. And if it's something which is recorded, they can then go back and forth and pause it, make notes. And so what we've really worked on across the whole university this year is making sure that when students come on campus, it's interactive and it's active learning, and really thinking very hard. That's what we've been doing, working out what's better online and what's much better on campus, and trying to make it based on what we learned from listening to our students this year.
There you go. Students speak and they get listened to. Fantastic. It's excellent. Angie has asked a question about, this will be very, very, very common for a lot of people. First time away from home, maybe getting a little sick or anxious, wondering about support. Sophie, is there support available if you get homesick or you get anxious when you come away to university for the first time?
So there's lots of wellbeing services here at the university, so you can definitely go to them, and just there's always someone to talk to. You also get a personal tutor as well when you start, and they can just check that you're okay. So that's someone else you have to talk to. But I think you just need to remember, like, everyone comes here that's staying in the accommodation, they're all in the same boat. And so I think as well, just chat to your friends and your flatmates, and I'm sure everyone will be feeling the same. So I think just talking through it. And obviously there's like Skype and Teams and FaceTime. Like, I think just keeping in contact with your family as well and friends from home just really helps as well. But I think just talking about it definitely helps.
And I think, I mean, you'll come back to support again in a second, but one of the things that people are often, the reason people are anxious about being away from home is the idea of going somewhere new, not knowing anyone, worried about not being able to make friends. I mean, tell us the truth. What's it like in the first week, the first 2 weeks of university? Do you sit in your room? Do you make friends? What happens?
It is quite daunting, to be fair. Like, I came and I didn't know a single person. And you can meet your flatmates. Like, we've got a Facebook group, so you can meet flatmates on there before you come. But I didn't do that. I didn't know it existed. So I came, didn't know anyone. And so I just tried to basically stay in the kitchen as much as possible. So when flatmates walked in, I just try and really get to talk to them. And I just went around knocking on other people's doors and hoping people would answer. So, and people do, like, everyone, like I said, everyone's in the same boat. Like, everyone wants to make friends and doesn't want to be lonely. So if you put yourself out there, and then you make friends.
If I may add something, Owen, sorry. I would also advise, so from my perspective, what I have seen that works quite good for students is to try to organize your cohort, or at least a group of them, to start revision sessions as soon as possible. So either some social events, but also revision sessions. So just to make that, cohesiveness of the group, to feel part of the community. And also I would advise you to take any opportunity that comes your way. See, we organize your personal tutor. We'll organize group tutorials once a semester. We might invite you for some catch-up chats, really, as we did this year during pandemic, just to create that community feeling among students. Yeah, because we couldn't be on campus, so let's have a huge Zoom call and do some activities on that Zoom call. So it's important that you also try to engage. I know it's difficult, especially when you just start and you don't know anybody, but I think it's good that you try to push yourself and make that first step, and then it will be easier after that. Yeah.
I think that's some really good advice there. Very, very good. I think, as you, Sophie, in the accommodation, it's very, very easy to meet people. But again, likewise, on your course, everyone's in the same boat as well. Nobody wants to be the person in the class who doesn't know anyone. And I think what you'll find is people are a lot more receptive than perhaps at school or at sixth form, where cliques already develop. At university, everyone's there by themselves. If everyone's waiting for you to say hello, they're literally wanting you to come up to them and say, hi, how are you? So it's very, very easy to start those relationships. And of course, and as you said, Ava, trying new things and taking advantage of new experiences. We have the student union, don't we, Sophie, here, who put on lots of events and have clubs and societies. Can you tell us a little bit about how the student union works here?
So the student union is student-led. So they run like Freshers Fortnight. So there's lots of different events there, like clubbing, different events, like paintballing, quiz nights, comedy nights. There's lots of different things there. There's societies you can join. I think it's £5 for the whole year. So it's like environmental society, mature student, international, LGBTQ+. Like, there's literally something for everyone, a dance. And you can also make your own society as well, as long as there's 3 of you. Just go along to the student union with you've got your 3 people, and you say, this is our idea, maybe like, I don't know, a Harry Potter society. You just throw it out there, and then you can make a society. There's also social sports, which is just £1 to turn up to. So like badminton, yoga, Pilates, 20-20, netball, football. So you just turn up with your £1 and then you just go and play. You can be really rubbish, but it's a great way to make friends, have all of a laugh together.
That's a very, very good line. You can be rubbish, but you'll still make friends. I think that's
makes it more funny.
Absolutely, I'd imagine it's much more fun that way.
Yeah.
Kimberly, you asked about graduation for 2021 graduates. Communications will be going out very soon. I think they're finalising plans at the moment. So as soon as that comes, they will be getting in touch. We haven't forgotten about our graduates. So please don't worry, the information will be coming out to you soon. Just a reminder to all of you who are watching, this is about you. This is your opportunity to ask questions, so please feel free to ask our academics or former student Sophie any questions you might have about the university here. Just pop them in the chat. For those of you who are still interested in starting university this year, it's not too late. If you want to start in September, it is possible to apply now through clearing. So clearing is when you can apply directly to the university. So you can give us a ring here at the University of Suffolk and talk to us over the phone. We might even be able to offer you a place there and then over the phone. So if you are interested in studying with us, you can give us a call on 01473 338 352. That's the clearing hotline. Or just go to the website uos.ac.uk and then click on I'm sure on our front page, there's a banner for clearing, which you can click on. We've also got a clearing open day coming up in a couple of weeks. So Saturday, the 14th of August, from 10 till 2, you can come down to the University of Suffolk. And our clearing open day will be open for you to find out more about the subjects that we're still offering through clearing and find out what you can do to actually apply. For those of you who may have already applied through clearing and have been made an offer, again, if you want to find out a little bit more about the course you've been made an offer for, find out more about the accommodation at the university, it's an excellent opportunity for you to do so. Don't forget, again, on our website, there is a virtual tour. So you can have a look, 360 videos and all sorts of the university, get a real feel for what the University of Suffolk's like and our beautiful waterfront campus here. There are also campus tours available. So if you do want to come down and visit us, we are running campus tours. So you can, again, by visiting the website, uos.ac.uk, you can book on a campus tour, come down, visit us, have lunch down here on the waterfront, go off to the beach in the afternoon, make a day of it, really enjoy everything Suffolk has to offer. And don't forget, you can follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok, and that's Uni of Suffolk. Whew. Okay, we'll come back to that a little bit later on. We've got all of the links in there as well. That's absolutely amazing. Okay, perhaps we've heard a lot about biomedical science, and very, very interesting it was too. Frank, would you mind telling us a little bit about what's going on at the business school?
Absolutely, Owen. So every part of the university will, all the academic courses take the opportunity to refresh and look at making sure their offer is the best it can be. And so Suffolk Business School has been doing that. And we've been working hard on getting some accreditation for our courses so that when students leave when they leave us after 3 years, they have a degree and also some exemptions or an accreditation to a professional qualification. So we've been working with the Institute of Leadership and Management to make sure that our undergraduate student will leave with a certificate from the Leadership and Management Institute as well as their degree. And we've also got some new accreditation on our accounting and financial management programme for the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. So that's really exciting. And I think that wherever you're thinking of studying next year, it's a good question to ask people, or if you're thinking of studying the year after, what, apart from the degree, what else is going on? So will there be people who practice in the subject? So, I mean, I know in our health school we have really, really strong links with practitioners, but actually in any subject, I think it's really important to say to people, will I meet people who've studied this before? Will I meet people who've taken this qualification and got a job? Because that's really important. And I think that's something that across the university we're really good at, to make sure the degree, yes, the degree is fantastic and it's so exciting to get that award, but what else to help you with what's next?
Muted there. Yeah, that is very, very good. I was actually going to come on to both of you actually to ask about careers. And I was just wondering if you had any sort of success stories that you could share with us about people in bioscience or biomedical science and what they've gone on to, and also in the business school as well. But Ida, could you give us any examples of careers that people have gone into from your courses?
Loads. So, with biomedical science being our newest course validated. We still don't have the final year, so we are just starting with the third year now. But as I mentioned before, we already have 4 of our students working actually in Ipswich Hospital, working towards their qualification there and hoping to, get to remain there once they graduate with us. And we have another few positions coming for the next 2 years as well of the same. I used to, before, validating biomedical science degree, I used to be course leader for bioscience, and we have a lot of success stories there. So we have a number of our former students working actually within NHS as clinical researchers, so working on big clinical trials, optimizing working processes there as well, making big changes actually. So we are very proud of them. We have a number of our students who went on to do postgraduate studies, so first masters and then PhDs, and a number of them have already completed or are about to complete their PhDs. And actually, the year before pandemic, so this is 2 years ago, I forget, we organized kind of inaugural bioscience conference where we invited our graduate students working towards their PhDs to present their research to our postgraduate students, so to our master and PhD students here. And that was really good, and we hope that that will become an annual event, once this pandemic is over. We also have a number of our students who have gone on to become science teachers, teaching either in local schools or national schools. Again, we keep in touch with them, and we are, organizing already or planning some taster sessions for their students to come, to experience university here as well. A number of our students have gone on to work with what used to be called Huntington's Life Science. Now it's NVIGO, which is toxicology contractual company that works for government or industry and tests, latest food produced, latest environmental products and so on, and their potential toxic effects on us. So a number of our graduates work there. We have students who have actually gone to complete medical degree or dental degree post completion bioscience degree, or students who have completely changed their route, because we don't only provide a kind of a narrow qualification of bioscience or biomedical science. Our students will be equipped with the wider graduate skills, so team working, time management, resilience, which is something that is very important in any profession, but especially in a profession as a scientist. So never give up, okay? Never not admit a failure, but take failure as a way to learn something new, to improve yourself and to plan ahead, because in science, for example, your experiments will probably not work first time. In 90% of cases, they don't work the first time. But that's not a failure. It's not that the experiment didn't work. It's just it didn't work the way you were expecting. So then you need to assess the result and change the way you were thinking, so adapt. And this is something that we are very keen to teach our students to develop this skill in them. Yes, so we have students, as I said, taking a completely new career, maybe as an advisor for the government or a scientific writer. I think we even have somebody working in PR for Disney. I'm still waiting for my movie premiere tickets from these students. Have been waiting for several years now, but yeah, hopefully it will come through. Yes, so a range of opportunities.
Wow, I mean, it's a really wide range of careers and opportunities they've taken up. That's amazing. Fran, what about graduates from the business school? Any that you can think of that have gone on to do something special?
Absolutely. So we just had some awards recently that people can find if they have a look on our Suffolk Business School Twitter and LinkedIn account, and those were students who've been awarded by for their studies, but actually have gone on to get some great jobs. So our accounting financial management students are under great demand by local. In fact, we have more people looking for graduates than we can give graduates to at the moment in that sector. So that's a nice position to be in. I think everybody that takes that degree doesn't struggle to find employment, and they do have exemptions too to go through and get some of the professional qualifications. So that's great. Then our events and marketing students working all over the place in all sorts of jobs. So literally working in local venues and some of the museums, as well as running fundraising in some of our local charities. And again, they can be kind of found all over the place. Some of them have gone to set up their own businesses as well. So every year we have students who go and set up their own businesses. And business management students have been successful on getting onto graduate training programs, so national graduate training programs with people like Morrison's. And then we've also had people who've gone on to work in local companies. So the problem we tend to have is that one of the reasons why we needed a university in Suffolk is because we need graduates, and we've got a really hungry local market who want to employ people who've come from the university. And our issue is not always having enough graduates. So I don't think there's an issue with getting a job. It's actually that you need to kind of get through the degree and then start looking. But there's so much exciting development in East Anglia. I mean, both in health and in lots of areas. It's a really interesting area. If people don't know it, they should have a look at some of the big organisations here like BT, who've been here for a number of years. But there's a lot of inward investment into Suffolk, and there's also some interesting government money coming in to support projects. It's an area of regional and national growth. So if people come and study here and then want to set up home and live here for the rest of their life, that's absolutely possible.
Yeah, having too many jobs locally is a nice problem to have, I guess. A lot of choice out there. So, Sophie, as someone who, has just graduated, do you mind if I ask how well set up you think you are finishing your degree here to sort of move on? Have you had advice and help with careers and getting a job?
So there's careers advisors here. So I wasn't, even though I did a teaching degree, I hadn't been able to get my, because of the pandemic, been able to go actually into a school and get the experience. So I wasn't sure if teacher training was right for me or not. So I went to a careers support advisor here at the uni, and I went to them and just was like, help, I don't know what to do next. And they were really, really helpful, just telling me all the different things that my degree could go down. So there's stuff that you don't realise that your degree's done. So it doesn't have to be just because you've done a child degree, it's all the different skills you learn as well. So you've been doing presentations, you've been working in groups. So you've got to think of those different skills that you've learned doing your degree, which could also go into a different job.
Yeah, and I understand that the career service here isn't just while you're a student. Am I right in thinking that even after you graduate, you still have access to the career service here? Probably,
I don't know actually.
I believe it's 3. Is that right, friend? 3 years?
Absolutely, and also I think when people have been a graduate here, then we invite them to become an alumni, and that's interesting too because that's another network of people. So actually, course leaders and module leaders really love to hear and see people's progress, and it's lovely when students get in contact and tell us what they're up to, or when we get asked to be a referee and provide a reference for them, which is something that we get asked to do a lot, and that's really important. Module leaders and course leaders will always be happy to consider a request to write a reference. And but yeah, the alumni is something that so now Sophie's finished, she can belong to that, and that's really nice because that's a separate community, and there are discussions, and it's I'm sure that one day Sophie, you'll be invited to come back in and talk to the students on the course, because it's really nice. We do that a lot in the business school and ask students to come back and say, oh, this is what I did, and have you thought of doing this, and this is a really good tip, do this. And I think that's really nice. So there's a really nice network at University of Suffolk of past, present students interacting with each other.
That's nice to hear. One thing you mentioned there, Fran, was about giving references for students and helping students progress. I think one of the things that Sophie and I were talking to younger students recently about this was about how well you actually know your tutors here at Suffolk and the relationship that you have, which I imagine comes in real handy when you're asked to write a reference for someone. Do you feel that you really know that person rather than, I remember my reference from the University of Manchester was completely generic and the same as everyone else on my course. That relationship that you have with your students, does that help you to help them,
Absolutely.
I suppose?
Yeah, absolutely, Owen. I think that we very much at University of Suffolk, we know our students, and the aim very much is to understand them in a way that some other universities just are not able to do. So we absolutely know our students, and we'd want to offer them some support and make sure that we're helping them when they leave to get the best possible job or do whatever it is they want to do next. And I say it's really nice. I was just walking back to the station the other day and I bumped into two ex-students, and both of them are already, well into their careers. One of them I'd given a reference to, one of them another colleague had given a reference to. And it's just so great to see them being really successful and doing, one person doing something completely surprising, which she hadn't thought about, one person doing exactly the thing that she had always wanted to do. So sometimes you start university and when you're at university, you change your mind, and that's fine. You end up following a different career. But both of them really successful and happy with what they're doing.
Excellent. And I imagine over in biomedical science as well. How many? What's the cohort over there at the moment, Ida? How many do you have on the course?
On the whole biomedical science?
Yeah.
So I would think currently we have about 50 students across the 3 levels. Okay, so I imagine that you would know those students very well then. Exactly, yes. We are very proud that our students are not numbers for us. We know each individual student by their name, and over the course of the year we get to know them quite well as well, which I always joke with them that has good points and the bad points. Good because we know them really well. We can tailor make their learning according to their abilities and their needs. At the same time, because I'm course leader and I know their timetable really well, and if I see somebody walking along the waterfront and I know they should be in the classroom, then I can tell them off. So you see, yes, so I can kind of, say, okay, you should be in the lecture, why are you walking here? Yeah. And in fact, when we are with references, today was my day for reference writing. I think I wrote like 7 or 8 references for some for current students and some for students who have already, graduated but are now changing, either, finishing their postgraduate and looking for next step in their career. So yeah. Oh, wonderful. A reference writing day. Yeah. Very good. We've got about 5 minutes left here. We are still here. If there are any questions that you do want to ask, now is the time to ask them. Anything you've been holding back, you're a little bit frightened to ask, please put it in now. We'll answer your questions before we go. But last call for questions coming in. Just a quick reminder that clearing is now open. If you want to find out a little bit more about clearing and what it actually means, head over to uos.ac.uk/clearing. You can find out about how you can still make your application to come to university and start here at the University of Suffolk this September. We will be holding a special clearing open day on Saturday the 14th of August from 10 to 2.
And again, if you go over to the website, uos.ac.uk, you can book yourself in for the open day. We can make a timetable specifically for you so that you will be able to speak to the people that you need to on the open day, talk to the course leaders on the courses that you're interested in, find out about the accommodation, how student finance works, everything that you would need to know to get in place before you start university this September. So remember, it's not too late to start. If you are still interested in coming along to university this year, you can still make your application through clearing. Okay, so as I said, we've got about 5 minutes left, just waiting to see if there are any other questions that are going to come through. It looks like you're all being very, very quiet at the moment. So I've just got one question for all three of you. Obviously, there'll be a lot of people who are watching this who've already made their application. Probably they've got their offer, they've accepted their offer, and they're excited about coming to Suffolk in September. Have you got any advice on what you could give them in the coming 6 or 7 weeks before they get to the university? Anything that they could do to prepare for university, whether that's academically or thinking about getting ready for the skills that you might need as a student here, whether that's cooking or cleaning? Any last minute advice that you might have for someone who's preparing for university? Sophie, we'll go over to you first.
I think definitely the cooking. Learn how to cook at least pasta. If you can't cook anything, I definitely do the learning to cook. And I think as well, just try and join Facebook groups and try and meet people on your course and try and find your flatmates as well before you come here. That'll really help. Yeah, I think just learn to cook.
What could you cook before you came to university?
I didn't cook anything. I think my mum taught me how to cook pasta just before I came. And that's what I lived off of.
Okay, and you survived. There you go.
Yeah.
So if you can cook pasta at least, you could survive. What about you, Ada? What do you think? Any last minute tips or anything for preparing for university?
I think tag on Sophie's cooking. A son of my friend is starting university this year, and what we are preparing for him is kind of a cookbook. So where each family friend will produce a couple of recipes that then he can stick into this cookbook. So easy to prepare. So something like that would be useful. And another thing is when you come to university, don't be scared to take any opportunity that comes your way. Okay, so anything that is organized by university, by your tutors, by your peers for you to help you integrate, to help you find this experience as enjoyable as possible, because it should be enjoyable more than stressful. It will be challenging, it will be stressful, but you have to enjoy it. It should be enjoyable most of all. And when you finish here, when you look back into these days, you will see that this was probably the best time of your life. So take this opportunity. Attend your lectures, attend personal tutorials, or take opportunity to get to know campus, to know where are the computers, where are the quiet study rooms, where is the library, what kind of workshops, tutorials that will help me learn are available, what other kind of support is available. What can Student Union provide me with? So, take time, spend those few first weeks to really get to know what is there that will help you, your experience here.
Very good advice. I would definitely second that. Very good advice there. Finally, Fran, we'll give you the last word on this.
Oh, thank you. I think think about how you're going to organise your sort of learning. So I'm sure you've got a phone, which is great, and actually some of our apps you can access on your phone, so online learning environment. But think about, do you need a laptop? Have you got a laptop? Do you want a monitor? There are study spaces on the campus that you can book, so you can always work on campus and in the library. But you might want to think about what you're going to ask for Christmas. And if the other thing is this excellent support and some funds available for people. So if it's going to be tricky for you to get the tech you need to study, then please don't worry about it, because when you get here, there will be some places we can signpost you to where you can make some applications. So just think about getting organised so that you've got what you need and you know what you need to get.
Again, very, very good advice. Definitely, you don't want to be turning up here and realizing, you're short of everything that you need to study. Well, thank you ever so much for all of you who have joined us this afternoon. I hope we've managed to answer your questions. Thank you so much to all of you who posted a question as well. It really does make life easier for us when you're asking the questions. So thank you for that. Thank you for interacting. Thank you very much to my guests who've been wonderful this afternoon, providing lots of information and advice to new students and people thinking about coming to the University of Suffolk. Remember that you can follow us on social media. So Uni of Suffolk is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And don't forget, you can find out more about clearing and studying here at the university, starting your course in September, by heading over to the website uos.ac.uk/clearing, where you can find out more about how you can make your clearing application, and you can book on for our clearing open day on Saturday, the 14th of August. We hope to see plenty of you there with us. Okay, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Bye-bye.